This video is going to introduce you to the peer review feature within Canvas. This is a great way to increase online collaboration and student-to-student feedback as they progress through the content within your course. The first thing we need to do is set peer review within the assignment. So I'm in an assignment page. Once you've entered your content, your points, you've chosen that it's the submission type, we want to make sure we choose the button Require Peer Reviews. Once you choose this button, it's going to give you several options. We can manually assign the peer review, which means you then go in and choose the students within your roster and pair them up. Sometimes this is a good way to go if you want to pair a stronger student with a student that might be struggling with this specific content, or if you know that two students work really well together or maybe don't work really well together, then you can avoid those conflicts. You can also have Canvas automatically assign the peer reviews, and as the papers come in or the content gets turned in, Canvas will go ahead and assign those. You can set how many times a person has to do a peer review, how many pieces they're reviewing, and you can also choose when to have those reviews assigned. If you leave this blank, it will automatically assign them once they're turned in at the due date. If you don't, you can set this to be at a later time if you want to. And then you can also set to have the peer reviews appear anonymously. You as the teacher will be able to see who reviewed each item, but the students won't be able to see who reviewed their items. I generally didn't choose this option because sometimes I found that an online peer review then led to a face-to-face conversation with my students. And so I wanted them to be able to know who was reviewing their work. So once you've set those parameters, then you just assign the assignment as usual and click Save. Now there's a peer review attached to this assignment, and you can see over here there's a peer review option. If I didn't have peer review set here, that wouldn't be here. We just have SpeedGrader and download submissions. The great thing about the peer review is it's not just going to require the students to give comments on the paper or on the content. If you utilized a rubric, it's also going to require your reviewer to fill out the rubric. This will give each student experience with how you're going to assess their work before it has that high stakes assessment quality to it with you going in and assigning a grade. And that's how you assign a peer review. Now let's look and see what it's like on the student side. What does it look like for them when they have something that they need to peer review? So I've enrolled myself as a student in this course as well, so we can see what that looks like. Over here along the right hand side in my to-do list, I have a peer review for that assignment. This means that there's an assignment there that I need to go in and peer review. So as a student, I would just go click that. It loads my sample assignment. It was a file upload, so we can't actually see it, but the students can see it by clicking View Feedback. This now opens up the sample of the document. Now, just as when you use SpeedGrader and insert those comments in student work, the students can insert comments into each other's work. By clicking Comment, they can then come here and insert any of these types of comments here to provide feedback for the student. They can also draw on the page. They can highlight text, they can strike out the text, or write on the paper. So they can do within the document feedback that would be available to the person they're reviewing. They also will need to come over here and insert a comment. They can do an overall comment, and they can also do a media comment, which I really like because it allows the students to go ahead and record themselves to be able to give nice, solid feedback. And the last thing they're going to want to do is go through the rubric. They click Show Rubric. They go through, fill out where they think things fell within the rubric, and then they're going to save that. And so once all this is done, we can save this. And now that other student has feedback from me. So let's go see what that looks like for the student that was just reviewed. So for the student that was just peer reviewed, they can look over in the right side from their home page and they'll see recent feedback. This is where they'll see the feedback that you give them on their assignments and also the feedback they receive from any peer review. if they just click on that recent feedback link, it's going to take them into the assignment. They click View Feedback, and now they're going to be able to see the feedback that you gave. You can see the way that I drew on the document here and the feedback that was given. They can click Show Rubric and see where their reviewer placed them on the rubric. And they can also see any comments that were made here by the reviewer. And then they could continue by adding another comment, and the reviewer would get that comment as well, and they can then engage in an online conversation about the work. And so using the peer review feature is a great way to increase that online collaboration aspect with your students, where they're really giving and receiving good, effective feedback to help guide each other's learning. And that's how you utilize peer review on Canvas.